Good evening, Your Excellency, the Chancellor, distinguished guests, and dear friends. I'm honored to be here at Amity for the Global Leadership Research Conference and grateful to learn from the insights from the eminent speakers. It's also particularly exciting to be here because Amity has been a trailblazer in the education space in this country within a short span of a few decades. Now, as we stand today, we are at a crossroads as far as the world of business is concerned. The past few years have seen a significant shift in terms of entrepreneurial shift, that's how it's evolved, new technologies, and changing consumer behavior has actually transformed the entire landscape dramatically. And particularly the period of COVID has also brought in those specific consumer behaviors which we never could fathom in my last 35 years of marketing. Now, for businesses to navigate this changing landscape and thrive and to be successful, we need to create new tenets that will shape the future of businesses. But however, I think I must tell you, the fundamentals of the businesses don't change. They're constant. It is just that the expression of business challenges will be contextual to the times that we live in. And it's the new tenets should address these specific challenges that we're going to face. In my point of view, the new tenets that should encompass innovation, sustainability, collaboration, engagement, and inclusivity. These are the 5 tenets which I think would work for us when we look at the future. And let me also try and add a few examples from my own experience or our experience at Bisleri. The first tenet would be innovation. Innovation has always been the driving force of any business. And now what makes it different is the agility of response, which will be the critical factor. In today's world, standing still amounts to almost falling behind. And with technology at an unprecedented pace, we must in businesses adapt and innovate ahead of the curve. It's about new products, new technologies, and services to meet these evolving needs. That means almost in our organizations, it's about fostering a culture of creativity, of innovations, of risk-taking, where failure is not seen as a setback, rather as a learning experience. And that's something we people at leadership levels will have to kind of live with as we go forward. And it's very interesting that just the last decade has seen so many entrepreneurs in India joining the Unicorn Club. In fact, Amity University itself is a testimony to the vision of your Chancellor and the pursuit of excellence by his team out here. Wonderful work. At Bisleri, it's the innovation that has helped us sustain the market leadership for over 5 decades. Do you know how many competitors we have? Anybody in this room? A random number.
10.
Let me not waste your time. More than 6,000 competitors.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
As leaders for 5 decades take a lot of innovation to be there. We have been the pioneers in what we do. We set the standards in the industry in terms of packaging, quality standards, manufacturing processes, distribution, and above all, clutter-breaking communication. I suppose you would recall our camels. There are more exciting things going to happen this year following camels. The second tenet would be sustainability. The world is really facing environmental challenges, and businesses must play a role in addressing them. Sustainability is a necessity for businesses to succeed and thrive in the long term. Business is not just about making profits. It's also about ensuring that we make profits for the future, and future is there only if you are doing some things which are sustainable. That means promoting sustainable practices, taking steps to reduce the carbon footprint, contain the pollution, and chip in our own social responsibility, ensuring that our practices are ethical and equitable. Now, this requires a little bit of fundamental shift, like I said, moving away from the focus on short-term gains towards long-term perspective, taking the entire society at large. Sustainability has been at the core of Bisleri in our business. In fact, many of you may not know that we were one of the first companies in India to start plastic recycling, and that was as early as the 90s. Our chairman imported a plastic recycling machine from Japan in those days, and we very passionately we are doing that today. And I'm privileged to learn, like the speaker who introduced me, privileged to share with you that Bisleri as an organization is a plastic neutral organization. We collect and recycle more plastic than what we put into the market. And this is part of our submissions to the Central Pollution Control Board. And we're ahead of the mandate of CPCB in this regard. It not just that, we are also water positive. We actually replenish more water than what we take out of the soil. And that we also do a lot of water conservation efforts in our rural markets with check dams and other things facilitating people for the rural farmers. So I spoke about innovation, spoke about sustainability, and the third one is about collaboration. The challenges that we have today in business are complex and multifaceted, and I don't think any organization can face these challenges alone. It calls for greater collaboration between the government, the civil society, and even between businesses. And I'll explain a little later what we do. This means working together to find innovative solutions, sharing knowledge and resources. You know, at Bisleri, we have learned our importance of collaboration in achieving our plastic neutrality initiative. Our Bottles for Change program, we actually network with municipal bodies, the government authorities, housing societies, educational institutions like this, hotels, restaurants, and hospitals. That is what creates the multiplier effect. And today, as we speak, we have touched more than 600,000 people where we educate them that used plastic is not a waste. It's a valuable resource which can be recycled. And we must also ensure, I'll also share with you that what we do, for example, in terms of collaboration. We've just kicked off an initiative of extending Bisleri to the Middle East, which is UAE. We have partnered with one of the largest companies over there who are into the water business. That's how the business is going to be. So together we have decided what is going to be our collective market share in the Middle East market. Now, this is not competition in that sense, dog eat dog. It's about, you get together as businesses to craft a much larger future. The fourth tenet to me would be engagement. Today's connected digital world, I think communication is no longer a one-way street. Quality of engagement seems to be extremely important right now. Consumers, and I'm sure the young crowd sitting out here, have a wealth of information. Possibly you guys know more about Bisleri than me. And you expect the businesses to be far more attentive and responsive. There are times when I get a nasty message in the middle of the night in Twitter. I have no option but to respond. So my wife keeps asking me, what are you doing at 1 o'clock? Some consumer didn't get his water and I need to figure a solution. And that's how the world is today. Now, we are talking about artificial intelligence, cloud computing, digital transaction systems, and the Internet of Things. And I think somebody was talking about blockchain a little earlier. We have to harness these technologies, the potential of these technologies. And you young people, I think it's like some of us in the past learned how to use computers. I remember working in Hindustan Lever in those days. We had something called green sheets, which were huge sheets, and we used to draw lines with a ruler and note down market share numbers month after month. And from there today, you have the pivot tables and you move to Tableau and whatever you can talk about in terms of data visualization. That's a journey we have traveled. I'm sure you guys have begun your travel with artificial intelligence and stuff like that. ChatGPT is possibly what is going to drive your thinking. I think it's also about harnessing the digital media because even for us at Bisleri, a lot of our investments in marketing has now moved to digital media in terms of engaging with consumers on social media and other platforms. We developed an e-commerce model during the lockdown period. And the entire purpose was just to reach consumers during the pandemic. How do you serve them at home? You remember, I think you must have forgotten the containment zones and stuff like that. But everybody still required water and we had to be there. And we had to tell them that don't step out of your house. Ab ghar aayegi Bisleri. We'll be there to serve you. It was enabled on the digital platforms that we could connect with them. They could pay us on digital transactions and we could still physically go and deliver things over there. And finally, I would say the last tenet, the fifth one would be about inclusivity. The world is becoming diverse and businesses must reflect on this diversity. That means creating a culture that is valuing diversity. It means providing opportunities for every employee, regardless of where he comes from, what is his background, and that all voices are heard and valued. I think that's extremely important. I think it's when you embrace this diversity that the businesses will truly unlock the entire potential of their teams. It's also requiring the businesses then to be transparent with their employees, with their stakeholders, and the society at large. I remember when I look back at the COVID time, we had put in place a COVID action plan sometime at the end of January. I think lockdown started on 21st of March, if I recall. Meeting equivalent when we were speaking to the employees that, listen, something has hit China, something has hit San Francisco, it's going to come here. These are the hygiene protocols that we will put into place. And you had to actually personally go and talk to every guy, every bunch of people, right from the senior management to the guys who load our trucks, take them on board. We also decided something at that time, and that's the only request I had with my chairman. We will not cut salaries and we will not sack even one employee, and I would still give you profits at the end of the year. And we took insurance for everybody. I mean, just think of it. I have this huge team of people whom I'm going to ask to go into containment zones and into COVID households and into hospitals to serve and supply water. Something happens to them, who the hell is accountable? Me, squarely. So that required us to take everybody on together, and I think it really worked for us. We did not shut our plants even for one day in the entire pandemic period over the last 3 years that we look at. But we took all precautions. We also took insurance, medical insurance, life insurance, everything that we could possibly take. And how did the employees respond? I would say performing beyond the call of duty. People would come to work, irrespective whether the villages were affected by COVID, whether the neighborhoods had issues, they would still come and report for work. Because in their heart, they said, this is what the company is doing for me, and I need to kind of pay back. And I must also tell you from a sustainability standpoint, as we stand today, as a testimony to our principles of transparency, we had just released our sustainability report last week with ambitious goals till 2025 on what we will do to sustain the leadership in terms of plastic circularity and in terms of water conservation. And we have committed our outlines on this. I think architecting the new tenets for the future of business is not going to be an easy task, as most of us will learn as we go along, but it is absolutely critical to succeed. So by embracing innovation, sustainability, collaboration, engagement, and inclusivity, we can create a better future for everybody. Your chancellor just spoke about each of us sitting in this room taking accountability for, personal accountability for ensuring that we as individuals are successful. I think that's a very profound message in that. It's not the institution who will make you successful. It's we, each of us, who are going to work on ourselves, invest in ourselves to make us successful as business leaders. You know, I keep telling my teams, there's enough money going around in the world. You need to stretch out your arms, make it pass through your hands, and hopefully some of it will stick. Maybe you put some gum or Fevicol, whatever it is. I think that's a principle that works all the time. Okay, you have to stretch out your hands and make the money that is going around in the world to pass through your hands. And that's a message I would leave you guys with. Thank you once again for inviting me to be here. And it's been a great privilege. Thanks.
Mr. George, here's Founder President. Mr. George, can you listen me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
Great appreciation for your exceptional leadership. I am so impressed. What you told is not easy to achieve. I will ring you shortly after asking your convenience to know your leadership style, because you have some very great, exceptional leadership style. I am nowadays developing the most ideal leadership style, which does not exist anywhere else than at a meeting. So your advice will be help to me. Ideal traits and undertakings of a great leader like you. Thank you very much. I will disturb you.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm honored.